Alright guys, so we're just gonna go ahead and continue from installation. So once you have done your installation, you'll see that this IP address was installed. I know it's DHCP right now. We're gonna configure that afterwards to a static one. But if you look at this, whatever IP address that you have been assigned, so once you go to that IP address, which is 19, I got assigned this one. So once I go in there, you have to add the exception, which is basically a certificate. If you see, it says get certificate. So confirm security information. Okay, and it will permanently store it in there. Now you can actually download the vCenter client, sorry, the vSphere from here itself. If you look at the bottom over here, when that status bar appears, you'll see it's actually a local one. That means it's already on your machine. So you simply have to go ahead and click and install it over here. And for the vCenter, you'll actually have to download it from the VMware website itself. Now keep in mind that this would require that you actually download or actually get an account with VMware. It's a free account, so don't worry about it. Create a 50 million email addresses and you'll have 50 million accounts with them. Keep in mind, any product you can only use it evaluated for 60 days. That's about it, unfortunately. So definitely make sure you create your snapshots and a backup as well, or rather a clone, if you think you'll need it more than 60 days. Or you can use your different account, provided that they're still signing off on the 5.5s or the 5.0s. Right now, the latest version is 6.0. So that's only evaluation that you'll be able to download. Now keep in mind that I really don't know as of yet which of these vCenters we need. I know the converter only converts from VHD other formats like VHD and VHDX into an ES6i format, which would be OVA compatible, or VMDK. So, and this is for the clustering, and this is for recovery manager, as it says, and this is networking and security. So these are different applications. I'm not really sure which one we actually need, so we'll explore that in the next upcoming video. Yes, this will be luckykennuggets.com coming in the future to you. But anyways, so we'll revisit the vCenter in the next video. So now that being said, this is also where you can actually get other stuff as well for administrating virtual appliances, and of course your data store browser. You could actually browse the inventory that you have. So if I were to click on there, it will ask me for the password. So I believe I kept it as root, and then the password I had chosen. um, let's see if it actually logs me in there. Okay. Anyways, it's supposed to, but we'll figure that out. Oh, I haven't created a data store as of yet, so if I haven't created a data store, it won't log me in there, but obvious, right? And then there's vSphere documentation. You can get it from there, and there you go. But again, you'll need to sign up for it, so I would recommend that you use, at least for now, your throwable or disposable email addresses, so that you can actually get evaluations multiple times. Anyways, now that being said, we're just gonna, since we had already downloaded the vSphere client, we're just gonna go ahead and quickly install that. Let's see if it actually does it. Okay, maybe I should put it on pause, and then we'll call it by way of video magic editing. Okay, so it's almost done. Alright, so once this application has been installed, you'll be able to manage the host itself, and then later on we'll look at creating a static IP address for it. I had tried it previously; it gave me an error, so I don't have the patience for it right now. But I'll definitely figure that out. So did it already install it, or what happened to that? Okay, I'm not sure what happened to it. It just is just. Okay, I don't know what happened in the last installation, but looks like it's actually installing it this time. Okay, it's already running. Okay. I guess it was just delayed. Okay, so we learned a new thing that in this version it's actually pretty delayed. So, or it might be just my machine. So just keep an eye on it. Okay, I'm just gonna pause it while this installs. Okay. All right, so it looks like it's been installed, so we'll just finish it out of it. So if we go now to our desktop, we'll see that this new icon has been installed, which is VMware vSphere client. And you just log in there, and you'll give it the IP address, the same one that you would see over here. And so 192, whatever the address is for you guys. And there password. We're not in a corporate environment, so it's not use Windows session credentials, right? So now you could ignore this, but every time you log in, you'll have to accept the security warnings, or you can just simply go ahead and install this certificate. Okay. So I'll just say I only have one user and I have only one machine, so on this, so I'm just gonna say this, automatically select, so press next, okay, and then finish. There you go. Okay. So yeah, anyways, this is because we were installing that certificate. So yes, our machine actually did give it a CA as well, or certificate as well. Okay, cannot complete incorrect username and password. Okay, so all right, I had reset the thing so that it would be root, I believe. Give me a second here. Right, so because there is actually by default there's no password set. I had reset the configuration, so I just have to go in there and reset the password. So configure a password rather. So I'm just gonna put in a password here, and this is only because I was playing around and I'd reset the password. So you guys won't have to do that. Okay. So there you have it, folks. Your evaluation will expire in 60 days, and no, there is no rearm. So I'm gonna see if I can actually get a license for these, like one of the cracks. I highly doubt we'll get it, but still. But nevertheless, this is how you control it. So we have your vSphere, and although I installed it on my own local machine right now, we were supposed to create a new virtual machine, and from that new virtual machine there will be an XP that you install, and from in the XP you're supposed to install that. But the principle remains exactly the same. So right now we don't have any. We can look at the inventory. Right now we don't have any inventory. So these are the great tabs that you can actually deploy from a VA marketplace. There's actually a marketplace for these. So you can actually get a virtual appliance. Now virtual appliance is basically a pre-configured, pre-installed virtual machine. So if we go here, before we could get the XP here from here as well, but not anymore. But we'll learn more about this in the future. And these are the pre-configured machines. So I would be able to find Ubuntu machines, but I doubt Windows machines. So if I were to type in Windows XP, see, I didn't find any. So if I were to type in this Windows, yeah, didn't find any. So if I were to type in, let's say, Ubuntu, so these are all the Ubuntu desktops. So if you are looking to, you could play around with this. So I'm not going to go into that. And then here's that's your getting started tab. And then here's your summary tab. Now summary tab basically tells you everything about your machine that you're connected to. And keep in mind, vSphere only connects to one host. So it actually connects to this particular host, the evaluation mode. License is the evaluation mode. It tells you about the processor. So my machine has two CPUs at 233, which is 2.37 almost, but 233 it's an Intel CPU, and the socket is E5345 at, as I said, 233. And right now, I assigned two processors to two. Um, well, there are two processor sockets because I have two CPUs. Now, logical processors, two hard beating inactive because we haven't clustered it. State, it's connected. So it gives you a lot of information. It actually tells you about network as well, what kind of storage you have. I have one data store, one non SSD, and it's 32.5. Now keep in mind that we had given 40 gigabytes to this. So if we look at the settings of the ESXi settings over here, if you remember, we gave 40 gigabyte, and out of that, 8 gigabytes has been almost 8 gigabytes has been used by that. So memory usage, it tells you. CPU usage, it tells you. Now we could actually download the VMware vCenter as well. So if we click on that, it will actually again take us to this particular page, and we'll download it and we'll figure it out later. Um, it actually tells you about the fault tolerance versions as well. And now if we go into the virtual machines, this is where you can actually create your virtual machines, and once you create them, it will actually show up here. So to create a virtual machine, you simply click on this particular button, new virtual machine, okay? And this is your new resource pools. Resource allocation will show up over here, like how much memory and capacity, etc. And this actually gives you the graphs for real-time monitoring. Now, remember, if you guys remember that AZ was telling us that his job was to take screenshots of the performance, etc. Now with the VMware, ESXi, you already have your performance indicators all over here. This is configuration now, like the settings bar or the settings option in Hyper-V, but this is where you actually configure everything. Okay, so this is the stats for my machine, or these is now network adapters is here, storage adapters are over here. So networking, if we want to, this is the V switch. I have only one switch here. So the kernel port is the 9.3, the network, and then VMNEC 0. Okay, so if we go into the properties of this, it actually gives us more information. We can actually change some things over here as well through the edit mode. We'll look at that later. Virtual machine startup and stuff. Time configuration. Now this is something that we can actually configure NTP client as well, or the servers. Right now we haven't configured it, but we could if we wanted to, like the world time server. Just the same way the PDC emulator needs one, we could do the same thing over here. Okay, but it's right now getting my local machine time information. If I wanted to change that, I can just click over here, and then if I want to enable the NTP client, and then I can give the options over here, right? In the NTP settings, I can add the server, and then go from there. Okay, so again, that's something that we'll look at later. Local users, the root, and the VPX user, and stuff like that. So this is the events viewer, just like how in Microsoft there's an event viewer. We have it over here as well. And then last but not least is a user. So ADUC, you gotta go check. Same thing over here. So you have your user group, and you can do that over here. Okay. So that's about it. We can actually talk a little bit more if you want. We can just quickly create a new virtual machine. But before we create a virtual machine, we can actually create data stores as well. Okay. Right now we don't have any virtual machines installed or created rather. So for data store, where do we have to go? Right, storage. So This is the way you can configure your data store. Right now, there is one data store configured. So if I want to do it, I can just add more storage to it. So if I were to do add storage, then I can actually do a physical disk or a LUN on fiber channels, because you're a local disk. Like if I have more space over here, network file system. This is the NFS, if you remember. So if we were to do this LUN over here, then we can just come here and configure that. So we have to type in the file, the iSCSI name and stuff like that, and then it will bring it up. Now here is NFS. So if you were to want to give the file SCSI again, you can actually, or the NAS, you can give it from here, the IP address, and then you can mount NFS read only if you wanted to, and then you click create a data store. So that's how you do it, folks. Okay, so this is our current data store that we actually have. So we can browse the data store as well. So if we were to create a folder, let's say for instance over here, and we say ISOs, okay, so we can create a folder, and then we can store all of our ISOs in here in the host, which would actually be storing it on this particular VM, okay, and the vdisk connected to it, okay. Or what you can also and then you can also upload stuff to it, obviously. So upload a file, you click over here, or complete folder. So we upload a file. So if I were to go into ISOs and say, okay, I want to upload this particular file, I could. It just takes a little bit longer, right? So it will, let's just see. Oh wow, it's actually doing it pretty much right, because it's not on a network drive, right? So and then if we remember, we came to this particular, right. So browse data store and the host inventory. So if we were to try it now, let's see if it works. Press OK. We'll be able to. So we have only one data store, if you remember, which is the data store 1. We click on there, and right now it's not showing anything that has been created, but we did create that ISO. Maybe if we refresh it, nope, for some reason this just doesn't show us over there. H2 data store. I'm not sure why it's not showing. Maybe there is a bit of latency. But anyway, so now let's say for instance we had to deploy a virtual machine, right? So what we would actually do is we'll come back to virtual machine tab. Now you don't have to come there, but I'm just, I like to be in the same location. So you can click on this, right? Or you can actually go here and say new virtual machine. Okay. So either way, you can do that. I remember seeing it, administration inventory roles. Okay. Anyway, so we come here and we click on this new virtual machine, typical or custom. So we'll just go with the typical for now. We'll call this new virtual machine, because since we're just doing a test. And again, we're gonna select the data store that we need, right? So we'll go further. And what kind of operating software we are doing? So right now, in uh, in the data store, we had uploaded that same ESXi, so we can actually choose other, and then we can pick up whatever we want. Since it's an ESXi, it won't let you install another ESXi. So let's just say Windows, okay? And then whatever operating system, you can assign the network cards, etc., etc. I don't understand why it actually doesn't show us the folder that we had created. But anyways, it should be like that. And the file type is VMFS 5. Okay, so 5 is indicator that it's a version 5, but that's how it is. Like how NTFS is for Windows, and this is VMS 5. Okay. Alright guys, but right now we didn't have to create virtual machines in the ESXi, so I'll leave you over there, and then you can watch videos online as well. And then if you need more help, Google is your best friend too. The reason why I'm saying that is not that because I don't want to help you guys. It's just because of the fact is that you know we need to make sure that we're getting better at our by ourselves. And then, but if you're not able to find something, then definitely give me a shout as well. That's the way I learned too, so that's not a problem. Now, one last thing over here, it actually also shows you. Just like how there were, if you remember in the server manager, there was that little thing over here on top which showed you the tasks. But down here in ESXi, it actually shows you, in vSphere at least, it shows you what all tasks were completed. So everything completed successfully. If you see, I created that directory, if you remember, called ISOs. I manipulated the file path, right? So it actually completed, so it just tells you that it got completed. Okay, and if there was any error, it will show you there, and you can always look in the logs as well. So again, the same thing you'll see in the logs. Now keep in mind that these particular logs are more detailed, so you can actually always see that over here. Okay. Let's see if this works, because this is supposed to work. I was hoping that I'll be able to browse to this. So if we were to say localhost.localadmin, let's see if we're able to browse. Localhost to local admin. Unfortunately, we're still not able to browse it. I'm not sure why. Maybe, well, it's not that a record needs to be created because it already was created in the back. Oop, it doesn't work. So anyways, that IP address should be working, the one that